Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us on this lovely Wednesday morning. Welcome to the Los Angeles City Board of Public Works meeting for Wednesday, August 4, 2021. Good morning, TJ Knight.
Good morning, President Good. TJ Knight, Assistant Executive Officer. President Good, Vice President Garcia, President Pro Tem Davis, Commissioner Coloza are present. Commissioner Villegas is on an approved vacation, I believe.
No, that was last week. She's here.
I apologize. I'm sorry, Commissioner Villegas.
I'm here. Good morning.
Okay, excellent. Good morning, Commissioner Villegas. Sorry about that. We have a quorum. We are also joined by City Attorney Representative Tanea Isagire. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. President Good, we have two speaker cards under item 6. We have no speaker cards under public comment and no neighborhood council commentary.
Okay. Thank you, TJ, and good morning. Hearing that there's no general public comment or neighborhood council commentary, let's jump right in. First off, I'll take a motion to approve the minutes from Friday, July 16, 2021.
So moved.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right. Got Colosa and Villegas with a second. Any concerns, Vice President Garcia?
It was Garcia.
Oh, goodness. So much enthusiasm. So Garcia and Colosa is second. Any concerns, Villegas? Thank you. Hearing none, minutes from July 16, 2021 are approved and adopted forthwith. That brings us to item number 1, which is the receipt of bids. We have bids for 2 projects. I'm going to read them together, Mr. Knight, and then you guys can open up, all right?
Sounds good.
Item 1, project 1, is Terminal Island Water Reclamation Plant Advanced Water Purification Facility, Advanced Oxidation Process Effluent Recirculation. CIP 5124, work order SZT 11436, estimated cost $5,464,000, and this is in CD 15. Project 2 is the Riverside Drive Lighting Improvement Unit 2 CIP. This is a rebid. Work order L1550087, estimated cost $926,500, and this project is in both CDs 2 and CD 4. So with that, Mr. Knight, I see Kumi in the room. Let's open up the bid.
Very good, President Good. For the bid number 1, Terminal Island, we've received 6 bids, and I will read those bids into record. The first bid is from Rice Lake Construction Group. Rice Lake Construction Group, total bid amount is $2,967,000. $2,967,000. Second bid on Terminal Island is from QPC Construction Incorporated. QPC Construction Incorporated total bid amount is $4,724,255. $4,724,255. The third bid for item number 1, Terminal Island, is from Murray Plumbing and Heating, DBA Murray Company. Murray's total bid amount is $3,605,453. $3,605,453. The next bid for Terminal Island is from Innovative Construction Solutions. ICS's total bid amount is $3,072,700. So $3,072,700. And that's for ICS. Next bid is received from Metro Builders and Engineers Group Ltd. Metro Builders total bid amount is $5,412,414. 5412414. And the sixth and final bid for Project 1 Terminal Island is from Blois Co., BLOIS Construction. Their total bid amount was $5,480,000. 5480000. And the second bid that we've received bids for today is Riverside Drive, and we've received 7 bids in this project. The first bid is from Norabelco Electric Incorporated. Norabelco, total bid amount is $1,083,812. 1,083,812. Second bid on Riverside Drive lighting is from Baker Electric Incorporated. Baker Electric's total bid amount is $983,396. $983,396. And the next bid for Riverside Drive lighting project is from International Line Builders, CBA ILB Electric. ILB Electric's total bid amount is $1,113,487. $1,113,487. The next bid for Riverside Drive is from Crosstown Electrical and Data Incorporated. Crosstown Electrical's total bid amount is $1,078,054. 1,078,054. And the next bid is from Comet Electric. Comet Electric's total bid amount is $1,100,420. 1,100,420. And the next bid is from Servitech Electric Incorporated. Servitech's total bid amount is $922,708. $922,708. And the final bid for project number 2, the Riverside Drive Lighting Improvement Project, is from KDC Incorporated, DBA Dynaelectric LA. And KDC DBA Dynaelectric LA's total bid amount is $1,343,881. 1,343,881. And that concludes the bids for project number 2 and all of the bids that we received today. Thank you so much, Jimmy.
Thank you, Mr. Knight. Thank you, Kumi. Appreciate that. Do I have a motion to accept bids on both of these projects?
So move.
Thank you, Commissioner Villegas. Any concerns or questions? Commissioner Calosa, President Pro Tem Davis, Vice President Garcia.
No questions from me.
All right. Hearing none, bids are received and filed for the Terminal Island Water Reclamation Plant Project and the Riverside Drive Lighting Improvement Project. Okay, that brings us to item number 2. Item number 2 is in CD6, land easement and lease agreements, Donald C. Tillman Water Reclamation Plant, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Recommending the board authorize the president or two members of the Board of Public Works and the director of the Bureau of Sanitation to execute the proposed land easement agreement and a land lease agreement, easement and lease respectively, in the Sepulveda Basin between the City of Los Angeles Bureau of Sanitation and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. 2. Request the city clerk to attest and certify 5 original copies of the easement and lease agreements upon execution. The city clerk and the board are to retain 1 original copy each, and the remaining original copies are to be returned to the Bureau of Sanitation for further processing. 3. Review, concur with, and recommend to Los Angeles City Council certification and of the California Environmental Quality Act, initial study, mitigated negative declaration, and mitigation monitoring and reporting program for the Donald C. Tillman Water Reclamation Plant land use agreements. 4. Review and concur with the National Environmental Policy Act final environmental assessment and findings of no significant impact for Donald C. Tillman. And 5, request that the board approve the use of $4,080,000 for in-kind services maintenance activities in the Sepulveda Basin in lieu of cash payment between the Bureau of Sanitation and USACE, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, to continue operation of Donald C. Tillman. All right. Who's with us today on this item?
Chris Monbrin.
Hello, Chris.
Hello, good morning. Good morning, President Good, Vice President Garcia, Commissioner Davis, Commissioner Caloza, and Commissioner Villegas. Thank you for your time today. I'm Chris Monbrin with Wastewater Engineering Services Division. I'm an environmental engineer, and I am the project manager for the Donald C. Tillman Water Reclamation Plant lease renewal. Today I'll be discussing with you a brief background on the previous lease with the Army Corps of Engineers, the Army Corps of Engineers requirements for renewal of this lease, and steps that need to be taken to move forward with a new agreement. A brief background. In 1969, the federal government, through the Army Corps of Engineers, authorized the use of approximately 96 acres of land in the Sepulveda Flood Control Basin for use as a wastewater treatment facility. The Army Corps of Engineers and City of Los Angeles agreed to a 50-year lease, which expired in 2019. Though this lease has expired, it currently is in a holdover position until a new land use agreement is executed. Some Army Corps and California environmental quality requirements. The new land use agreement required federal action to execute, and this required the development of environmental documentation to meet the National Environmental Policy Act filing requirements. Because of this, because the plant is in a flood control basin, the Army Corps required that the existing flood protection berms and walls that surround the plant be brought to current federal standards. These construction efforts also required California Environmental Quality Act documentation as well as NEPA documentation. To address the NEPA filing requirements, LA-SAN developed an environmental assessment and findings of no significant impact for the Army Corps of Engineers. To address the CEQA filing requirements, LA-SAN developed an initial study, mitigated negative declaration, and mitigation monitoring and reporting plan, or ISMND. Due to the level of authority granted at the Army Corps of Engineers at the local level, the Los Angeles section, they are authorized to grant easements up to 35 years and lease agreements up to 25 years. With respect to the Donald C. Tillman Water Reclamation Plant, the Army Corps of Engineers required that the land where the plant itself, the Japanese gardens, and the support facilities, they were required to be separated into an easement for 35 years, and the cricket fields be separated into a 25-year lease. There are 2 separate agreements that will actually need to be executed because of this. If in the future it's necessary to utilize the cricket field for plant expansion or further advanced treatment, the lease can be integrated into the easement at the Army Corps' local section, and it would then be integrated into the 35-year easement and the remaining time of that easement. The Donaldson-Tillman Reclamation Plant, the cricket fields, and all other related parcels were appraised for 35 years of use at a present worth value of $4,080,000. Fortunately, the Army Corps of Engineers has the authority through the Miscellaneous Receipts Act to utilize this funding at the local level to address operations and maintenance tasks in properties that are operated by the Army Corps of Engineers. Moving forward, LA Sanitation and the Army Corps of Engineers have tentatively agreed to utilize the funds to address fence repairs in the Sepulveda Dam Basin, the Hanson Dam Basin, also repair an existing flood control berm on the south side of the 101 freeway in the Sepulveda Basin, and any remaining funds will be used for rodent control within the Sepulveda Basin. This will allow the funds to remain local while addressing unfunded Army Corps maintenance efforts. This is truly a win-win for all parties involved. The Army Corps of Engineers have certified the NEPA environmental assessment and FONSI, which allows the city and the Army Corps to execute the new the new easement and lease for both the 35-year and 25-year agreements respectively. These agreements will require either, as stated previously, the President of the Board of Public Works or two commissioners to execute both the easement and lease and concur with the use of the $4,080,000 for in-kind services as previously stated. Because of this information, LA Sanitation kindly requests that the execution of the lease and easement with the Army Corps of Engineers moves forward. And upon the execution, request as previously stated, the city clerk to attest and certify 5 copies of the 2 different agreements. We kindly request that the Board of Public Works concur with and recommend to the City Council for certification the CEQA initial study and mitigated negative declaration. Also review and concur with the NEPA findings for the environmental assessment and finding of no significant impact, and kindly request the authorization to use the $4,080,000 for the in-kind services efforts to continue operations at the Donaldson-Tillman Reclamation Plant. At this time, I'm happy to answer questions and would like to thank the board again for their time.
Thank you, Mr. DeMondrum. Let's open this up for conversation. Commissioner Closer, why don't you kick us off?
Thanks, President Good. Thanks for your very detailed presentation and briefing, Chris. I have a few follow-up questions. Just wanted to better understand. We don't see land use agreements too often at the board, so I do have a few follow-up questions. Just curious, and just to clarify, you mentioned that the agreement expired in October 2019. It's, as we know, August 2021. Can you explain the 2-year delay there? It sounded like you're saying is related to environmental requirements, but I also know that this existing contracts before us says that you have to start the process at least 3 years ahead of time, right? So just curious if that same requirement applied with this existing contract and what happened.
Thank you for your question. The Army Corps, when we initially initiated the land use agreement talks, we started approximately 8 years prior to the expiration, and at that time they'd mentioned to us that we were actually a little bit behind schedule. We were not aware of the duration of time that would be necessary to complete the land use agreements, and then also we weren't aware that there was going to be additional need for the separation of them into multiple agreements, and then those sorts of things. And then lastly, it was the in-kind services component that ended up moving us beyond the time that we would be able to execute it to make sure that the funds were actually utilized locally. So it was something that the Army Corps and LA Sanitation had agreed that it was best to move forward with the utilization of the in-kind services funds and put the lease in a holdover position. Now, the holdover position is that the existing lease or the previous lease that was in place, the conditions of that are still pertinent, and that it's under the the direction of the Army Corps that all operations will be maintained under those guidelines and requirements, and that when the new lease is executed, the easement are executed, it's at that time that any new requirements will need to be adhered to.
And so the existing contract that expired, was that a lease and easement agreement combined into one that we're now separating for this new one? Because I noticed that the term years are different too. Just curious if you can elaborate on that a little bit.
Of course. In 1969, the Army Corps of Engineers had the authority to issue a lease for the purposes of a wastewater treatment facility. And that over the years, their authorities have changed, and the ability to issue land use agreements has changed as well. So the easement is utilized for things that are non-recreational, and in this case, it's for industrial purposes. And that the land use agreement for the recreational purpose or component, which would be the cricket fields, was separated out as a lease component. So they required that all things that had to do with the treatment plant itself be separated into the easement of the 35 years, and that any recreational component that was a non-essential component to the wastewater treatment process be separated out into a recreational lease agreement. And that, as previously mentioned, if it's necessary to integrate the lease into the easement, they can do that in the local section. The 25-year lease itself, it can be approximately 3 years prior to that. It'll just be a simple filing with the Army Corps of Engineers, and they will, again, provide that lease to us. And at the end of the 35-year easement, the remaining component of the lease for the recreational portions, it'll be reevaluated holistically as an entire campus at that time at the end of the 35-year easement.
Okay. I see Mr. Pusti has unmuted himself. I don't know if you're going to add anything.
No, good morning, Commissioners. Good morning, President Good. No, I think Chris just covered the whole thing. Is the fact that we started this negotiation with the Army Corps almost 9 years prior to the expiration of the lease expiration. This was no shortcoming from us. We attempted that well in advance, not being aware that the federal government really takes 10 years to approve something. So it was just really, it was the process itself that it took this long to reach this final agreement.
It sounds like you're going to start your renewal for the 25-year in like about 5 years, right? Give yourself a head start.
Actually, tomorrow, right after the board approved it today. We're going to start tomorrow.
Good to know. And so for the expiration date for the easement, I guess for both of them really, is I know it says that it starts at the end of the previous lease. So are we doing like a retroactive from 2019, or is it technically the start date of the lease in 2021?
The start of the easement and lease dates will be retroactively dated to the end date of the previous lease, which would be November 1st of 2019. So currently it would be, we're at about year 2 now of what will be the easement and lease once they are, if agreed, of course, will be 2 years of the 35 years of the agreement.
Got it. Okay. And there's just one last question for me. Is I was actually in the middle of trying to open the attachment when I got called on by President Good, but I wasn't able to open the attachment on the transmittal for the scopes of work. I know there's in-kind services that are part of this agreement. Can you explain what those 3 scopes of work are? And it sounds like traditionally the $4 million is something we would actually pay out of pocket, and that the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers didn't allow for in-kind. Is that correct?
No. Forgive me if I didn't provide clarity in my presentation. The $4,080,000, the appraisal value for the 35 years, there were multiple options for the city to move forward. One of them would be a single lump sum payment to the U.S. Treasury, or it would have been $289,000 per year for the next 35 years to the U.S. Treasury. The third option was brought to us by the Army Corps of Engineers to utilize the funds locally for the in-kind services for their operations and maintenance work that currently is unfunded, and that those three scopes of work would be essentially fence repair within the Sepulveda Basin, also within the Hansen Dam Basin, because that's also an Army Corps facility. So that's one scope of work. Also, there is a very small berm, a flood control berm that's on the south side of the 101 freeway adjacent to, I forget the name of the park, but it's a very small stretch of a berm that needs to be repaired. So there's some invasive species of plants that have grown into it, and it needs to be brought up to current standards. Those two will utilize the bulk of the funding of the $4,080,000, and then any remaining funds that are available will be used for rodent control within the Sepulveda Basin.
Got it. Okay. Thank you for explaining that. Seems like it's in our interest to also do those services in kind for work that we would want to do anyway. Appreciate your explanation, and thank you, Mr. Pucci, as well, for chiming in. I don't have any more questions on this item. Thanks, President.
Thank you, Commissioner Colosa. President Pro Tem Davis?
Yeah, I think it's been thoroughly described to us in terms of the conditions and the details of the lease agreements and the land easement. And so I would move that we accept item number 2 for implementation at the appropriate time.
All right. Vice President Garcia?
Thank you, President Good, and good morning to everyone. I don't have any questions. I think my colleague did a great job, and during the briefing, I asked a billion questions also. Ali, I told you right after today's meeting, we need to restart the negotiating. We can't wait until tomorrow. It's going to be too late after tomorrow. We had a good time talking about this, and I'm excited of what the turnaround is with, of the projects that now sanitation kind of committed to do. I know there'll be challenges around it, but this was a pretty good negotiated deal. So thank you to you, Ali, and thank you to you, Chris, for all the work you did around this. I don't have any questions, and I'm with Commissioner Davis. When the appropriate time comes, I'll motion this and support it.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Vice President Garcia. Commissioner Villegas?
Thank you. I appreciate the report. It was really thorough. And appreciate Commissioner Colosa's questions. I had questions also just regarding the in-kind. So thanks for that explanation. Just so I understand it correctly, the in-kind, you were able to also get additional work done elsewhere outside of Tillman. So you mentioned Hansen Dam, other repairs, that are just adjacent to the 101, probably Army Corps property, and then any remaining will be done at the Sepulveda Dam. Is that correct?
That is correct. All of the work that will be performed for this is operations and maintenance work that is currently unfunded by the Army Corps, and it will take place on Army Corps property.
So the improvements that will be done, that'll be also to the benefit of the city?
Yes, all of them are within the city of Los Angeles, but technically are on federal property.
Wonderful. I don't have any further questions. Thank you very much.
Amen.
Thank you, Commissioner Villegas. Not much here, Mr. DeMonbran, but just again on the in-kind services. So in essence, we're going to just, rather than paying rent or lease costs, we're gonna do this work that otherwise we'd have been looking to figure out how to fund and get done.
Well, the monies will be utilized for, like I said, the efforts as described by the Army Corps of Engineers, and otherwise we would have been paying to the U.S. Federal Treasury. So I'm not sure if that entirely answers your question.
So this is in lieu. I mean, it's in kind, but it's also in lieu of rent.
Yes, you're correct.
Got it. Okay. Thank you. That's helpful, and this sounds great. It may have been protracted in nearly a decade, but it sounds like you reached a a good agreement for us nonetheless. So I mean, I've got like, I think 17 motions to move this forward, but I'll take I think it was Davis and Garcia. So Davis with the entering motion, Vice President Garcia is a second. Any questions or concerns, Villegas or Colosa? All right. Hearing no concerns, the item is adopted forthwith. Thank you so much, Chris. Thank you, Ali, for being here as always. And
Thank you, commissioners.
you're welcome.
Commissioners, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Go get the deal done. Get it on my desk. 10 years, 9 years, whatever is long enough. All right. So that brings us to items 3 and 4, both of which we are going to continue again to Friday, September 3, 2021. Mr. Knight, any other action need to be taken? Actions need to be taken, or is it sufficient for me just to continue, or do we need to vote to continue?
No, it is sufficient. It is sufficient for you to continue, President. Good.
All right, so items 3 and 4, and they're on the agenda, FYI, because we had initially set, when we continued it the first time, we had set the date of August 4. That's why, for the public and everybody, that's why they were on the agenda today, even though we knew that there was a request to continue. So both items 3 and 4 will be continued to September 3rd, 2021.
That request is by the applicant, is that correct?
It is, I believe. Well, yes, it's by the host of sort of participants, right? That's BOE, but then also Metro and company. Correct, TJ?
Correct. I'll read into the record the reasoning for the request, if that's with your approval.
Please do.
Excellent. Per Bureau of Engineering, Larry Sue, continue both requested continue both advisement items to Friday, September 3rd, 2021. El Pueblo's board is scheduled to hear the design of the Union Station forecourt and Esplanade on August 12th. Assuming the item is approved at the El Pueblo board, that'll give Bureau of Engineering 2 weeks to update our board report and submit the report for a Board of Public Works hearing September 3rd.
Does that satisfy your question, Commissioner Villegas? Cool. All right. Me too. So with that, both items will be continued. And again to September 3rd, 2020. Thank you, TJ, for reading that into the record. All right, folks, that brings us to item number 5. Item number 5 is revocable permit in CD14, encroachment in the public right-of-way, 201 and 222 South Hope Street, Metro Regional Connector Project. And I see Mr. Antolini is with us for this item, I suspect. Recommending the board, 1, authorize the city engineer to issue a revocable permit or permit to encroach within the public way, subject to the conditions subject to the conditions listed. Encroachments include: A, pedestrian bridge located approximately 17 feet above grade. B, landscaping and irrigation. C, 2 42-inch high concrete planters. D, 3 trees in planters. E, 9 tree-up lights. F, 12 recessed 3-foot linear lights under cantilevered decks. G, cove lights along the bridge under cantilevered decks. H, 21 recessed wall step lights. I, 25 recessed linear floor-up lights. J, 4 LED bollards. K, maintenance deck access hatch. I, or L, 3 trench drains. M, 12-inch by 12-inch directional tactile floor tiles. N, 42-inch high glass guardrail. And O, 36-inch high concrete wall with 6-inch high stainless steel guardrail. This is revocable permit number 201-800-0383. With us today is, I presume, Mr. Tangieri on the item?
Yes.
Thank you. And then I see Mr. Antonelli, or Antonelli, I'm sorry, Matt. I see Mr. Antonelli on with us. And Wes, why don't you go ahead and proceed with your report?
Thank you, President Good. Good morning, Wesley Tanageri, Bureau of Engineering, Central District Office. This item or project is within Council District 14 and is located on Hope Street at the MTA's proposed Grand Avenue Bunker Hill Station Plaza adjacent to the Broad Museum, and is in support of MTA's overall regional connector project. The MTA requested revocable permit to construct a pedestrian bridge connecting the MTA station with the Broad Museum. The pedestrian bridge will span over Hope Street and will include trees, landscaping, planters, lining, and glass guardrail as part of the design. The Bureau of Engineering is not aware of any controversies, and Council District 14 is in support of this project. So the Bureau of Engineering is recommending approval of this revocable permit. If the commissioners would like more background information or detailed description of the project, the MTA representatives are present to answer your questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tangieri. One of my favorite Laker Dodger fans. Mr. Antonelli, you want to add anything?
Good morning, President Good, Commissioners. Matt Antonelli, Project Manager for Regional Connector. I don't have anything else to add to that. I just want to recognize I do have Michael Harrington, who's our Director of Engineering for our project, and has been working with the stakeholders and also with the city and engineering staff reviewing the plans. So he's here to support as well, and he's probably taking the lead on the questions, and I'll be here supporting him. So if there's any questions, we're here to answer them.
Thank you, Matt, and thank you, Mr. Harrington, for joining us as well. All right, colleagues, I'll open it up. President Pro Tem Davis?
No questions for me on that item, on this item.
All right, thank you, sir. Vice President Garcia?
Thank you, President Good. I don't have any questions. I'm excited for what's to come. It's a really nice design. I appreciate the trees that you have there. I mean, they're all rendering, so it's not like, but it looks really nice. And the bridge also looks very well designed as well. I don't have any other questions other than just kind of give my comments and my compliments. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Garcia. I assume you're complimenting the chair here as well, so we'll take that.
Of course.
Commissioner Villegas?
Thank you. I don't have any questions either. I think the report spoke for itself. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. And Commissioner Closa?
Thank you, President Good. I don't have any questions on this item. I thought Mr. Tanageri did a great job, and Mr. Antonelli and his team as well. They've briefed me on this item. I think this is a much needed improvement, and I look forward to hopping on the metro, getting off at this new station, and going to the Broad Museum. So I know a lot of people will be going to the museum in this downtown area now that we're kind of connecting the pieces with our public transit. So I think it's a really exciting improvement in the area. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Yeah, agreed. Not really any questions, just excitement. It's one of those, that whole area is going to be so transformed, and it's really exciting. And as we've discussed in previous items, even though there, in the general area of that stop, we had to remove some trees. You have that whole tree park too. So really going to be really fun, and it's interesting how seemingly little pieces begin to connect all the dots, and it's going to be exciting. So thanks for the good work. I have no further questions, and I'll take a motion to approve this R permit.
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Closa, and I'll take a second from President Pro Tem Davis. Quick draw McGraw. Thank you. And any concerns or questions, Garcia or Villegas? All right. Thank you, Wes. Excellent quite excellent report, and thank you, Mr. Antonelli. Thank you, Mr. Harrington, and good luck. Look forward to walking that bridge.
Thank you.
Thank you for your support.
Thank you all very much. Okay, colleagues, that brings us to item number 7. Item number 6. So what we're going to do, I know we have 2 public comments on this. I'm going to read through the item, Mr. Knight, for the record. Then we'll hear comment, and then we'll have discussion. Then we'll have the report, and then we'll have discussion with the board. Okay. So item number 6 is in CD9. This is a revocable permit removal of encroachments in the public right-of-way, 58th Street between Town Avenue and San Pedro Street. Recommending the board, 1, authorize the Bureau of Engineering and the Bureau of Street Services to revoke the revocable permit which allowed for the construction of 2 gates on 58th Street, effectively closing aforesaid street between Town Avenue and San Pedro Street. 2, instruct the Bureau of instruct the Bureau of Street Services upon revocation of the R permit to issue a notice to comply requesting the applicant to remove the encroachments from the public way. And 3, authorize the Bureau of Street Services to remove the encroachments from the public way if the applicant fails to remove the encroachments from the public way. Reference revocable permit number CEN-91-4-15A. Mr. Knight, let's go ahead and hear our public comment.
Great, thank you, President Good. Our first public comments are on item number 6. Mr. Tim Strelitz, if you would kindly press *6 to unmute, and you'll have 2 minutes to offer your commentary.
Thank you for the opportunity, ladies and gentlemen. On Monday at 1:30 in the afternoon, we were informed that we would be involved in this Zoom meeting today, giving us 1.5 days to attempt to put together information demonstrating the inappropriate accusations by Mr. Lee. We didn't have any time to do that. I'm asking and requesting for a postponement so that we can properly address these issues. Secondly, I received an email from Mr. Wesley Tangiri, I think if I pronounced it correctly, wherein he states clearly, I am not speaking on the behalf of the city attorney's office. However, please know that their recommendation to revoke the R permit was based on how the city previously interpreted the state vehicle code and not related to any of the complaints received. I apologize, but I don't understand that. I don't know what the DMV code they're referring to is. And again, I request the time to prepare properly. The fences are always open. Mr. Lee not only has keys to all of the 2 fences, but we have signatured agreements that he signed when he received those keys. The street is about the nicest looking street in the entire South Central area. Has anybody from the Office of the Attorney of the City of LA even come down to see the situation? Has Mr. Knight seen it? Have any of you? And so please, just give us enough time to prepare. If Mr. Lee wants the fences taken down, let him show due cause and just cause.
2 minutes.
Thank you, sir.
And our next speaker on item number 6 is Mr. Steve Lee. If you would kindly unmute yourself, and you'll have 2 minutes to speak.
My name is Steve Lee. First of all, thank you all of you for giving us the time to express the concerns here. My name is Steve Lee. I'm the owner of the property on 58th Street that is across the street from Mr. Slurdick's property, as well as the property adjacent on 58 between Town and San Pedro. I also own the property that's across the street on the south side of Slauson, 2 blocks. I also own the property on the west side on 5811 San Pedro. Both properties that's adjacent as well as next to has businesses that has maybe 200 to 300 cars parked. One is a homeless service shelter service center called the Weber Community Center. The other one is leased by Los Angeles County Probations. The gates are closed. Mr. Sterlix has closed the street, and he uses the street as if it's his own parking lot. We have zero access on the pedestrian level. You cannot access the sidewalks, and the streets are basically, like I said, used as his own parking lot. He has also installed horns, so whenever a car goes by, a horn sounds off as if it's a private parking lot. He has also put up signs that says private property and no access for the public. I've gotten complaints from my tenants who needs to drive around 2 blocks, and especially Los Angeles County Probations. And so we would ask that we can revoke this permit so that we have a public street that we could access.
Can I make a comment, ladies and gentlemen?
No, sorry. You'll have.
Go ahead. We haven't done any of that. We haven't put any signs on any of the fences, Mr. Lee. Not only that, but the sidewalk you talk about, it's kind of funny, but the sidewalk was eliminated by yourself when you took that property over. It's funny how the sidewalk on your side of the street goes for almost the entire side of the north part of 58th Street and then ends in front of the building that you own. We don't want to, on any level, restrict traffic throughout that area. We don't want, on any level, to stop people from coming onto that street. We actually have beautiful fruit trees that we call Mr. Price's office every year when they are ripe and ready to be picked. And we let the people come in, and we don't let them. They come in and they pick them. We announce that the fruit is now available. And again, I'm asking for time to prepare a defense to accusations that are not true. I'm asking for just a little bit of fair time, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I'm asking for.
Understood, sir. Understood, sir.
Understood,
sir. Thank you. Thank you. Respectfully, I just want to be clear with everybody. This is not a forum for debate. This is an opportunity to hear from all the parties, and in particular the bureaus. So again, respectfully, sir, appreciate it. Appreciate you being here, Mr. Lee. Appreciate you being here. What I would like to hear now is from the Bureau of Engineering in Streets LA.
Good morning, Wesley Tanageri, Bureau of Engineering, Central District Office. This project is located on 58th Street between Town Avenue and San Pedro Street within Council District 9. 58th Street is currently gated by a council motion that was adopted in 1991. A revocable permit was issued to allow the installation of the gates. The original intent for the gates under the state vehicle code was to deter criminal activity and illegal dumping. In July of 2019, the Bureau of Engineering received written complaint as is shown on transmittal number 4. In February 2020, staff sent notification letters to the adjacent owners that a complaint was received to remove the gates and that a revocable permit application was in process. Written communication from the applicant explaining the reasons for installing the gates was to deter the aforementioned criminal activity, illegal dumping, as well as to reduce the use of city funds to continuously clean up the area in question. Central District staff consulted the city attorney's office, and the discussion at that time was to revoke the permit based on the interpretation of the state vehicle vehicle code that originally allowed the gates to be installed. Our office reached out to Council District 14, however, they had no comment on this matter. Based on the discussions with the city attorney, the Bureau of Engineering is recommending revoking this permit and have the gates removed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tangeri. I'll tell you what, in the interest of full, robust, and complete communication, colleagues, I'm inclined to continue this for a week to next Friday, which I'm an old man. I can't remember numbers. What is next Friday, TJ?
President Good next Friday will take us to August 13th.
Okay. All right.
Lucky Friday the 13th.
Okay. Thank you. Colleagues, any objections to continuing to next Friday?
I don't have any objections, but can I make a request? Can we find a way to have this conversation between, we always encourage partnership and collaboration, and it's what we do here at the board. We want to make sure that at the end, everybody in the community is completely, satisfied, or, have at least agreed to something. So we've done this before when we go back and say, please work with one another to see what kind of solutions you guys can come up with. So can I just make that suggestion that, between Wesley and maybe there's some kind of compromise that can happen. I don't know the details. I had a full-on question, but I will wait until next Friday to if those questions are not answered on next Friday's hearing, then there's a lot more questions. But I just encourage some kind of collaboration effort. Mr. I'm not sure your name, but on the screen it says SL. And Mr. Tim and Wesley, if we can just, and BSS Martin, you're here, find a way to collaborate and work together to make, because one of the things that I do see in this area is that it's kept cleaned. And so I want to make sure that that continues to happen in that piece of South LA. So all I'm encouraging and asking for is collaboration, compromise, negotiation, and just a spirit of collaborative, so that we can all move forward, working together. That's all.
Yeah. Also, I'd like to add,
Mr. Strelitz, can you please hold? We've done public comment again. It's very important that we are fair to all parties in this. So public comments happen. So yes, Dr. Davis.
I'm looking at the problem, and it seems and it appears that the state saw need to have these fences and these gates. Why did they see a need to do so? And if they saw a need to do so, they saw a need to do so for a certain reason. What was that reason? Has that reason been dissolved at this point in time? If the reason was that, for example, it was a nuisance of some type and order, then why then have we interpreted something different than we accepted some time ago when the state imposed this?
Dr. Davis, I think that conversation, unless you object to us continuing, which we can have that conversation, I think that would be better served for next Friday.
Yeah, I'm not making a conversation. I'm throwing a lot of questions on the table to take home with them to resolve. Yeah. So that these are questions that I have in my mind. I'm not asking for an answer today, but I just want to make it clear that these are in fact questions based upon what has been presented to me today. And I understand and I accept what you have ordered us to do, and I want to do that. I just wanted to throw those questions on the table that are of concerns as we move forward in the future.
Understood. Understood.
Thank you.
Very much appreciate it. So,
I'm sorry, President Craig. One last thing. Wesley, you said in your presentation Council 14 was okay with it, but I think this is Council 9, right? Can we also figure out, can we see where they stand? Maybe it's Council 14, I don't know. I figured it was 9.
We reached out to the council office, but they said they had no comment on the issue.
Okay.
But for clarity, to Vice President Garcia's question, and Wesley, I would ask, along with Martin or maybe it's Assad, who's been working on this from Streets LA, that everyone make themselves available to the highest degree necessary to all the commissioners for because there are lots of questions. One small block can matter a lot to a lot of people, and so I would ask that y'all be available. What I would, and then including clarity on that, Wes, you may have misspoke. You mentioned CD14 in your verbal report. The written report says CD9.
It's Councilman Price. It's
Yes, I
Councilman
think
Price.
this is CD9. So just I think that was just a misspeak, whatever.
My apologies.
I would ask all of the gentlemen and the ladies to look at our report and the pictures, and we just want the street. No street in South Central should be closed off for private purposes, one. And two, if all of you, and if you want me to submit more pictures, on 58th Street between Main and San Pedro, on Slauson by Crocker and Town, we have people cleaning on daily basis. So it's very, very clean. We don't have any gates on those streets.
Okay.
I would look at the picture.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I don't have a gavel, but I'm reminding everybody that I'm chairing this meeting and the conversation is over. I very much appreciate the passion, but this is not a fracas. So the item will be continued, and please ensure that when you show up next Friday, that we adhere to rules of decorum. And that means not stepping over each other, and frankly, not just deciding to jump in when you want to jump in. Understood? No. Thank you, Mr. Strelitz. We're going to have an opportunity next Friday. You made a request for continuance. You're getting it. So next Friday, we will hear the item. Mr. Tangieri, Mr. Schlager, Mr. Al-Najir, please make yourselves available to commissioners for questions. Also, colleagues, I would encourage you, if you have legal questions around the item, to reach out to Ms. Isigede. All right? Thank you, Mr. Strelitz. Thank you, Mr. Lee, for showing or being with us today. We appreciate it. We'll see you at Trust next Friday. And colleagues, we will move on to the next item. Item number 7, and that is, again, continued to August 13th. 13th is next Friday, right, TJ?
That's correct, President.
Okay, thank you. All right, item 7 is an authority for expenditure, Black Knight Financial Services. This is Bureau of Engineering and Office of Accounting are requesting board approval and execution of an authority for expenditure in the amount of $78,000 to encumber funds for annual renewal of subscription license for data transfer services of pre-sorted Los Angeles County deed information. This authority is for the period of July 1, 2021 to June 30, 2022. AE 22780009M, Fund 100, General Fund, Department Number 78, Appropriation Unit 003040. Who's with us on this item, Mr. Knight?
Mr. Raul Virgin?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, President Good. Good morning, all. Actually, I have Veronica Buenrostro with me. She's going to actually give a brief presentation of why we are asking for this funding.
Okay.
Veronica?
Yes, hi. Good morning, President Good, Commissioners. I apologize for my video. As you can see, I'm having glitches with it, so I'm just going to stop video and just do audio so I don't make everybody dizzy.
No worries, Veronica. We appreciate the effort. Don't worry.
I tried. You know how these things are.
Yes.
So we're asking for the $78,000 this year to pay Black Knight. They provide us deed archive records. So basically, they have copies of the majority of all the deeds in the city of Los Angeles, and they provide a data transfer to us on a weekly basis. So our staff in the land records can go ahead and update, in turn, our city land records and upload the information into BOE's property ownership database. And this information also becomes available on Navigate LA, and it's one of the core services where we provide ownership information. And the two main components here is, like I said, the weekly database download of the latest transactions of deeds recorded in the city. And additionally, the second is a product called Title Point, which allows us to get digital copies of an archived deed Now, this could be a deed that could be decades old or new, and it allows us access to the title chain or the history of the ownership on any specific property. And that's basically my report. That's in the gist. If you guys have any questions, Raul and I are happy to answer.
Thank you, Mr. Buenrostro. I hope I said that right.
Yes, you did.
Buenrostro.
There's a lot of R's.
I was trying to get that second R. Beautiful name. So thank you. Colleagues, any questions on this? Vice President Garcia.
Thank you, President Good. I don't have any questions. Actually, I do. Sorry about that. Veronica, is this the same amount that it's usually every year, or has it gone up, or any change?
It has gone up this year approximately 6% or 6.5% from last year. But there was a period of about 3 years where the price did not go up at all. So it's pretty.
Yeah. And the price went up. Did they give you any real reason, or is it just, it's time?
The reason is there used to be a program called Site X, which has become obsolete, and really that was more geared towards escrow and real estate transactions. So instead of using paying for a product that we couldn't use, what we did is we switched over to Title Point, which is where the price went up a small percentage in that case. But Title Point actually is much more beneficial for our staff because we can access the entire history of the ownership on a property, whereas the other service that they were going to provide for us really was not useful or helpful for any of our staff.
I see. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you so much for your time and your report.
Anytime.
Thank you, Vice President Garcia. Commissioner Villegas?
Thank you. Thank you for the report, Ms. Buenrostro. I appreciate it. I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Villegas. President Davis.
Thank you, Mr. President. No questions from me either on this particular item.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Closa?
Thank you, President Good. No questions for me. Thank you all for your report.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Commissioner Closa. Just one clarifying question. In disclosure, I got like a gaggle of 10-year-olds yelling in my backyard right now, so I didn't quite hear. So it was our previous contract was with a company that was bought by Black Knight Financial Services. What was the transition there?
No, Commissioner. So it was the same company. It's always been Black Knight. They used to have a different service in addition to the bulk data called Site X Pro, but that in turn has become obsolete, and so they offered us Title Point instead of the other product.
Which we're actually happier with, but it does
Yes.
include the 6%. That's part of the 6% increase from last year.
Correct. It's actually half of it, to be honest with you. It's about 3% higher with Title Point. The other regular bulk data item, that went up on its own an additional 3%.
Got it. Very, very helpful. Thank you, and apologize for bringing my personal business into board meeting. It is 2021. We have to deal, right? All right. Thank you. I'll take a motion to move the AFE forward.
So move.
Thank you, Vice President Garcia. Take a second from Villegas. Commissioner Closa, President Pro Tem Davis, any concerns or questions?
No concerns or questions from me.
All right. Hearing none, the item is adopted forthwith. Thank you, Ms. Buenrostro. Thank you, Mr. Bergen and appreciate it. Y'all have great days.
Thank you, Commissioners. Goodbye.
All right, friends and colleagues, let's go to item 8. Item 8 is a communication from the mayor. The mayor has approved and authorized the Board of Public Works on behalf of the Bureau of Sanitation to execute the proposed use and maintenance agreements with the Los Angeles County Flood Control District for the Palmetto and Rose Street low flow diversion projects. I believe we heard these items about a month ago. Referral BPW-2021-0073. Do I have a motion to receive and file?
So move.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Villegas. Colosa, Garcia, any concerns? All right, hearing none. Item number 8 is received and filed. Speaking of our favorite mayor, I got another one from the mayor. Now, item number 9, the mayor and city council have approved and authorized the Board of Public Works on behalf of the Bureau of Sanitation to execute the proposed 10th Amendment Joint Powers Agreement with Southern California Coastal Water Research Project. For reference, CF 12-1674, BPW-2020-0745. Do I have a motion to receive and file item number 9?
So moved.
Thank you, Vice President Garcia. Do I take a second?
A second.
Second.
Oh, wow. All right. Got 2 seconds. Colosa and Davis. Villegas, any concerns? All right. Hearing no concerns, item number 9 is received and filed. Thank y'all very much. That brings us to item 10. Item 10, this is bond to release stop payment notice, Ortiz Enterprises, Inc. Ortiz Enterprises, Inc. and Carolina Casualty Insurance Company is transmitting a bond to release money withheld on stop payment notice filed by Don H. Mahaffey Drilling Company. Bond amount of $2,367,762.34 for work done in connection with the Taylor Yard Bikeway pedestrian bridge over the Los Angeles River project. The primary contractor for this project is Ortiz Enterprises, Inc. C-131905, communication number 122514, filed on July 29, 2021. I will motion to approve this bond to release stop payment notice. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. Villegas, Colosa, Garcia, any concerns or questions? All right, hearing none, item 10 is adopted and approved forthwith. And then that brings us to our final item of the day. This is a oral report on safe centers from the Bureau of Sanitation. Who is with us, Mr. Knight?
President Good, we have John Park as the Bureau of Sanitation staff member who has identified himself as the representative to prepare and deliver the oral report. However, he has requested, Bureau of Sanitation has requested to withdraw this item and will reschedule this report in late August. Mr. Park should be with us at this time if you have questions.
I don't see Mr. Park.
I don't either. We do have Bureau Rep Sherry Kuroki if you have questions.
Hi, Ms. Kuroki. Is there an issue? Well, no, that's fine. We can reschedule. I would, Ms. Kuroki, if you can communicate that, I would appreciate Mr. Park to have been here for future or post reference and available for a question. But that is fine. TJ, why don't we reschedule? I'll let you pick the date.
Mr. President Good, very good. Mr. Park did request to withdraw. He didn't provide a date in his request to withdraw. So we can honor his request to withdraw, or we can continue it to a specific date.
How about we'll go with a hybrid. We'll honor his request to withdraw, contingent on communication directly to me as to why.
Very good.
Okay, great. Thank y'all very much. All right, Mr. Knight, have we cleared the decks?
Yes, we have, President Good.
All right. Well, everyone have a wonderful Wednesday, and thank you so much. This meeting is officially adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks, everyone.